Welcome to the UDP broadcast, a podcast where a group of friends get together and discuss gaming-related topics, offering both informed and uninformed opinions. I'm your host, Luminary, and I'm accompanied today by my co-host, the Nordic Cajun.
Da da da.
The Eternal Barcode, IMEI.
Hello, I'm coming in at probably over 1 megabit per second right now. It's amazing.
And sporting the fancy hat will be Reyna, the crit chicken.
The One Piece is real.
Straw
I
hat,
had to put it on for tonight.
straw
I
hat
love it.
gang. Yeah.
It's like, what is it? Throwback to
Hang on, for we don't
what is it? C-Lab 2021. Do you want it on or off? Off. Too bad.
Hold on, Cajun's on a mission now. There he goes. What's he putting on now?
If we're doing fancy hats.
Well, you're in a dark room, so that even...
Yeah,
I think he's got a
getting
top
close
hat.
Oh, is that what it
Let
is?
me get.
I think so.
There you go.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
This room is
Very
darker
fancy
than
top
normal.
hat.
It's really weird. Thank you.
He's kind of giving me what we do in the shadow vibes.
Yes. Thank you.
So anyways, thank
Anyways,
you for tuning in tonight.
episode 61.
Sorry, go ahead.
Episode 61, the easy button. But before we get started, Amy has words which I interrupted him. Go
That's
for it,
fine,
Amy.
because I interrupted you. We're all good.
We interrupted
Yes,
everyone.
10% of all donations, subs, bits, and all that stuff, money generated, or raised, I guess, goes to the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is fantastic, and Ping's got more info for us.
Duh ping.
Yes.
The Trevor Project is the leading organization
Ping is the
working
most
to
amazing
end
person ever.
LGBTQ youth suicide in the US
Said
and
everybody in
beyond.
the podcast.
The non-profit operates several programs to help prevent and respond to the public health crisis of LGBTQ youth suicide, including 24/7 free crisis services, research, advocacy, education, and peer support.
Thank you, Ping. Okay, I'll do it from here.
Sorry, my internet is lagging again. Just a quick reminder, this is an opinion show. It does not reflect official company policies or views. In other words, we're poor, we have uninformed opinions. Please don't sue us.
All right. So, top of the docket for the week, and it's been all over the place, is Apex
Well-
Legends. And
That's still a game.
it certainly
is.
is, and it is in chaos right now. I consumed a lot of content on it, but being fresh on it, I'm going to go ahead and give this synopsis, and we can go from there.
Essentially, a hacker targeted two high-level streamers. Both of them do high-level competitions. One of them actually was competing at the time of the hack. And what it ended up happening is on the first player, all of a sudden the player was able to see through walls and had an aimbot enabled, and also had this pop-up overlay come on their screen that looked like a cheat tool menu that you could choose, your options. The problem was the title of the cheat tool was called TSM Halal Hack. TSM being, of course, the name of the team this guy plays for. And at the very bottom of all the lists of like aimbot, ESP, and whatever else, there was one that said vote Putin or vote for Putin. So likely that wasn't an actual tool and more just like a transparent or translucent PNG that was added. And then the other guy, he was playing a ranked match, which apparently in Apex Legends for ranked matches, you have to be at a high level for a while before you're allowed to play in them. And this guy, the attacker, had a very low level account, came into this person's game, and then had 40 what appeared to be bots just spawn into the game. The only thing that makes it kind of, whether questionable as to whether it was bots or whether it was instanced versions of the game was that each bot had a number associated with it in brackets, sort of like when you try and save the same file twice. So like in Windows, it has like, in brackets 1 through however many times you're doing it. So it kind of was like that. But in both instances, the session IDs were visible on the screen because there's an overlay tool in Apex that shows you your frames per second, your packet drop, your lag, and all that fun tech technical detail shit. And in both cases, the session IDs were shown. The first person, it was either the first or second person, they ended up joining a different session where they had turned that off and the attacks stopped. So that lends a lot of credibility to the possibility that it could be a vulnerability within the game client. Because the first thing that happened when this, hit the fan was everyone started screaming that it was a RCE vulnerability in either Easy Anti-Cheat or the game itself. Now, if you're not familiar with what the term RCE is, other than real civil engineer aside, it's a remote code execution, which basically means I can run code on your machine through a vulnerability.
Oh,
and that happens a lot. Like Windows has RCEs all the time. Like there's been hacks, all kinds of hacks done with RCEs, but generally that means you have to have direct access to the box you're trying to run the code on. Whereas if you have a misconfigured game client, you can get it to do all sorts of stupid shit, because normally when you play a video game, your game client is essentially a dumb terminal. It just sits there. It shows you stuff, you give it inputs for like movement or whatever else, and then it tells the server, hey, by the way, my client is doing this. If the server sees a discrepancy, the server normally says, nope, your input is invalid. Here's what is actually happening. That's why in some games you might feel rubber banding. You'll be like running and all of a sudden you snap back a couple feet. That's because the server has told your client, no, you're not supposed to be there. I'm putting you back. And that's usually what it's supposed to be. That means the server is authoritative. It has all the authority and it decides and tells the clients what's going on. Now, if you have a game client that's vulnerable to exploit, sometimes if that's coupled along with a server that the server side that isn't, hardened and is vulnerable to exploit, sometimes you can get the game client to tell the server what to do. And
the server itself?
Yeah, so what you would do is you would either send what's known as a malformed packet. So your game client would be like, here's a packet of information, here you go. And the server says, okay, this is a valid packet, I'll pay attention to it. Invalid packet, I'll dump it to the side. Sometimes if the whole software, the server and the client side are buggy, you can have an instance where the game client sends a malformed packet to the server and the server says, you're telling me this person has millions of dollars in their online account and they're just going to give out Apex packs to everybody? Okay. And that's what happened. This hacker actually also gave one player 4,000 Apex packs and another one 2,500. So this person was able to tell the server what to do from their game client. Because you got to think of it, it's unlikely to be a remote code execution vulnerability, because if it's within Easy Anti-Cheat, Easy Anti-Cheat is on dozens of games. That would mean you could run this on every single game running EAC. So why didn't you? You didn't. This person didn't. They chose 2 streamers on one game. If it was an RCE within the game, they could have done the entire player base. Kind of not exactly the same as Titanfall 2, but similar, where one person can, ruin the play experience for everybody. A lot of the times people do that sort of stuff and they go, hey, look what I can do, and then they'll show it to everybody. So not likely to be an RCE. There's been no demonstrated proof. There's been no public proof of an RCE. The attacker has claimed a bunch of things, but of course it's the internet, so you trust, but you also verify. You trust that they might be telling the truth, but you want to go verify. So,
because nobody lies on the internet.
Oh, of course not. Absolutely. And I'm 80,000 feet tall, right? Like,
and I can lift 2,000 pounds.
Exactly. So there's a lot of misconception, and what really sucked about this whole thing is that the devs got hit hard. A lot of the players started saying, oh, you're not doing anything, you suck, you shouldn't have a job, fuck off. And they were really going at it. So
this is probably something that just came out of left field. They weren't ready for something like this, huh?
Well, so what ends up happening is sometimes you release a product and it goes through your QA, and humans are humans, they make a mistake. There was recently, I'm trying to remember who it was, I think it may have been Canon, that released a printer driver that had a debug tool enabled in one of the driver libraries, which allowed you to actually do remote code execution because it was a debugging driver that had direct access to the Windows operating system and the hardware level. So in that case, it was an accident, but that was an RCE because the library had access to the hardware and to Windows itself. You could actually use that vulnerability to go do whatever the hell you wanted.
To the
But
point where you were actually affecting the server itself to
Well-
launch these codes for you.
Well, in this case, if you've got a server like if you've got the server and it's not been properly hardened, and for whatever reason, things didn't get fixed or weren't noticed, you can tell servers what to do if they're misconfigured, and it happens all the time. The one big thing that nobody seems to know or understand is cost. So, say you have a vulnerability that allows you to inject chat, like text, into a session's chat. So you're in like Helldivers, and for instance, you find an exploit that allows you to send messages in a given session's chat log. So they're playing, and then they see this random person talking to them in chat. How much is that going to cost to fix? And you might sit there and be like, well, what do you mean? You have to pay someone to fix that and test another person to test it and other people to make sure it's working correctly. Whereas you probably have other larger bugs, like, for Helldivers, for example, in the big stompy robot, you turn right and shoot a missile, you blow yourself up. That's a bug.
No, that's skill issue, sir.
Exactly, so that's a skill issue. So
That's me.
So as a
I'm the
company,
skill issue.
as a company, you're going to put money into fixing that playability bug versus the someone can inject chat into another session. Well, what happens if you figure out how to do it with chat, but then you figure out there's a little bit more of an opening here. I can do a little bit more, maybe a little bit more. Allegedly, the attacker claims they had been working on it for 4 years. So, whether or not that's true is debatable. Never trust what a hacker says because they're never going to tell you the truth, or very unlikely to tell you the truth. So,
Fair.
unfortunately, the devs took the brunt of it. A lot of people are saying these people don't deserve jobs. They need to get the fuck out of the industry. Thankfully, a well-known streamer by the name of Pirate Software started going through the analysis side of the attack. And the guy has 20 years in the industry, in the gaming industry. He's got 3 black badges from DEFCON. He's a hacker. He primarily focuses on physical security, but also does other stuff. So he started showing his chat of about, I think there was like 9,500 people in chat that day, how you go about eliminating certain things, putting other things on the back burner, and slowly piecing together the puzzle. He ended up doing an interview with one of the 2 players affected, the second player first, and then a day later he had another interview with the first player that was affected. And based on what they were saying, he was able to build a better picture of maybe what had happened. But the other thing that nobody thinks of is lawyers. So in the US, and that's the funny part, country laws, like the laws of your country, apply just about anywhere in the world, and people don't understand that. So if you break into a computer in the US, you have broken the Computer Security Act of 1982 or whatever the hell it's called. That law is a federal law. Now the FBI has to investigate. So there's more than likely an active FBI investigation into this whole hack because it violates computer laws, which are a federal law. So that's going to limit what people can say. And then there's going to be stuff where you could have simple things that you want to tell the player base, but legal says you can't because you might word it in a way that opens the company up to legal penalties, whether that's under civil or criminal penalties is a whole different story. So legal generally puts a muzzle on people's faces and prevents them from talking. So
Y'all can't see me in chat like in the actual stream, but I'm mimicking a muzzle right now.
yeah, it's all good.
I have had a little bit too much.
And Drew over in chat here says he has like 3 or 4 hours of the deep dive into the exploit in 2 parts on the Pirate Software channel. And if you go to the Pirate Software YouTube channel, you can find it. He's got 2 videos. I know the second video is like 3.5 hours. The first one's like 2.5 hours. But he goes to the whole piecing together the puzzle to figure out what's going on. And at the start of this, chat was upset and pissed off and didn't really understand how an investigation works. So they were blaming the devs for being lazy and not doing their jobs. As he went through the process of building the picture, showing, what's plausible, what's very unlikely, what should be really investigated, soon, what has to be investigated now, chat's opinions changed and they started to realize, oh shit, this is really difficult to work with because it's not a simple thing.
Let's have a concept of things are not the microwave generation that can't be fixed instantly. There's actually a whole bunch of shit you have to do to fix the hole in the dam.
So here's the way I look at things. I work in the IT industry. I've been in this for 20 years now. And people come to IT people all the time with a problem. And sometimes it's as simple as turning off the printer and turning it back on, everything works. The user doesn't understand what happened more often than not. They just see the tech came in, pressed a button, walked away, and everything works. So they get that in their mind that fixes are very, very quick and simple. Then when they have a problem with Windows, say, they can't get the sound in their speakers to play, you go over to the taskbar, you see that sounds are muted, you unmute that, that's 1 click, 2 clicks actually, and you're good. You've walked away. That's a very quick fix. And that helps to reinforce the idea that everything is a quick fix. You just have to do your job. But then you come and say, hey, my computer's crashing, this application won't load, this one sort of loads and freezes, this one does this one does that, this hardware works, this one doesn't. Now you've got a real problem. Mm-hmm. Now you have to do your job where you need to diagnose the problem properly. You need to go through a process of elimination of finding where the problem is, how to fix it, if the fix will work, and all that stuff. And that takes time. And what ends up happening is people, who've been under the impression that everything is a quick fix, now look at this and say, what's taking you so long? You should have fixed this already. You're useless. Should I get somebody else to do this? Fuck off. I want my shit back. And I've been on the receiving end of that conversation hundreds of times. And to all those people, I just say, go bathe in lava because you're a bunch of fucking assholes.
Yeah, I mean, why can't you technology this to work? Dude,
exactly.
It's just technology.
So
it's just a button. Let me push a button real quick and fix
exactly.
All the things.
It's only a button. It's one, like the last time you were here, it's 1 click. But that was for a muted fucking speaker.
Did you turn the computer on?
Did you reboot
it? You know what? You know what? My favorite tickets that I used to get at this one place I worked was for a classroom area where, like, it was the office for the instructors that was just attached to a classroom. You go into the office, they would have a ticket saying the monitor doesn't work. And you walk into the desk or into the cubicle, you look under the desk, you plug in the cable to the power for the monitor, and you walk away. And they didn't realize that as their feet are under their desk, they like to play with things because humans are dumb. We like to play with stuff. We like to touch things. So when you're working at your desk and you feel something, by your foot, you tend to play with it. You tend to pull on it. You tend to push it, pull it, whatever. And then eventually you just work the plug out and if, it's barely in the socket. So when you quickly look
really easily and all of a sudden just...
Yeah. So it looks like it's plugged in because you're not actually sticking your head under to actually look, but the screen doesn't turn on and oh my God, the whole thing's broken. It's all your fault. And it's like, and then when you go plug it in and walk away, they get insulted that it was such an easy fix. And they take it personally. It's like, IT doesn't win. So in this case, the devs don't win. However, that being said, after these streams of sorting through all the information, going through what's plausible, what's not plausible, where the evidence was taking them, a lot of people started telling their friends, and eventually it filtered over to social media where people were telling the devs, hey, keep it up. We know you're working hard. Apparently some people were apologizing for being assholes, but there's a lot more positive messages going out to the devs to encourage them to keep going and really find out what happened. And the worst part is defense
hashtag we're trying.
Well, for the defensive side, the team that owns, or the company or the team that owns the whatever that's being attacked, you don't know where the vulnerability is. The attacker does. So the attacker has the edge of, I can get in because I know how and I know where the problem is. the defensive team doesn't know where. So they have to start
I have
from
studied.
scratch.
I know where the hole is. You don't.
Exactly. But conversely, the defensive team can, you don't really want to, but they can be a little bit sloppy, but they can protect themselves and they can fix things because as an attacker, you don't want to get caught. You want to clean up, you want to hide your presence, you want to make sure you were never seen.
No
An
breadcrumbs.
attacker has to be perfect 100% of the times.
Mhm.
And it looks like in, one of the videos, there may have been a slip up on the attacker because there was an incoming connection to the computer while Malwarebytes was running on this guy's stream. And it showed the IP address on VirusTotal was only showing up as an infection point for 9 out of like 40 or 50 scanners. And when you look up that IP address, a lot of people complain that that IP address is a source of attacks. So it could have been used as what's known as a jump box, because rarely an attacker is ever going to go attack something directly from their own computer. They're going to go through something else, either a server
The
they're
back door?
renting or no. It's more like you go through an intermediary, because you don't want to go directly. You don't want to go from your house, and walk right over to there and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, my house is right behind you, and I'm attacking you." You usually go through a side path, so you go through a different home, and then you go through there. So that way, as people are tracing and trying to find out where you came from, they don't find where you're actually from. You find what's known as a jump box. You're jumping off from there to attack, and
Kind
they
of like
may have found
kind of like an evil version of a VPN kind of deal.
Yeah, it's the same idea, or a proxy server, or a gateway. Like it's a way of covering your tracks. And when you're an attacker, you have to be perfect every single move you make. And there may be a possibility that the attacker made a mistake
He
because
fucked up.
well, and it happens in a split second. It's very, very lucky timing because Malwarebytes shows an incoming connection from this IP address. It's like taking your car to a parking garage to get a spare car to rob a bank. Yeah, exactly. So you go to the parking garage, you steal someone else's car, you go commit the crime with that car, you come back, swap out to your car, and you go. And that's essentially what a jump box is. And so
I'm learning a lot tonight about this.
it may have been a very lucky coincidence that Malwarebytes showed the incoming connection when it did, because normally when you're doing an attack, you clean up right away when you're done to hide your evidence. And this was a full hour or 2 hours after the attack that this incoming connection came in. So maybe there was a little bit of game cleanup on the game client side the guy had to do. Who knows? But that'll be for the investigation. And unfortunately, like I said, it's against your computer crimes law. So it's going to be a federal investigation. And when was the last time you've ever known police to say, "Oh yeah, we're investigating this person for exactly this reason, and we have all this evidence against them"? That doesn't happen until you go to, get charged and you go to discovery, right? So, because it's an active
that seems to be
investigation,
the flavor of the U.S. government these days. But
well,
I
that's
understand what you're
anywhere,
saying.
right? Because you don't want to compromise your investigation, because you never want to tell your adversary what you know. You want to make sure they don't know what you know. It has to stay that way, because the moment they find out what you know, they change their tactic. It's the same reason why when you do banning people from a game, you don't do onesies and twosies. You do a ban wave where you ban hundreds or thousands of players all at once. And you do that at timed intervals, preferably once the chargeback windows are gone, and now you can actually cost the person making the cheat tool a lot of money. That's always the best thing. But the reason you spread those out is if Lumi were to use a hack today and he gets banned.
This is all
And then-
hypothetical, by the way.
all hypothetical. So imagine I'm a designer of a cheat tool and I rent these or whatever, and Lumi uses it and he gets banned. Well, I go look at the ban reason and I go, okay, so they banned him for that. So I have to go back to my tool, I make a couple adjustments, and I publish it, and then you use it the next day. You get banned for a different reason. And I'm like, okay, I'll make a little fix. Crit goes and uses the following day, and she's fine for 2 weeks and then gets another ban. I can adjust on the fly. But if you ban hundreds or thousands of people all at once, every 6 months or once a year or whatever, that is an overwhelming number of pissed off players that come back to the designer, right? So you don't tip your hand in investigations. You don't tip your hand ever when you're trying to figure this stuff out. So more likely than not, the developers are all under a gag order because legal probably has told them, keep your mouth shut. You're not allowed to talk about it. The FBI is likely involved, and they've likely said, keep your mouth shut. You're not allowed to talk about it. So we won't know anything until the investigation is completed, depending on where this attacker is from. If they're from a NATO country or a country that the U.S. has friendly relations with and has extradition treaties, that person you can almost guarantee will be extradited, or at least requested to be extradited to the U.S. if they're not within the U.S. If they're in the U.S., they're absolutely going to be arrested.
Shipped
Like,
via Amazon.
Breaking that ass.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out. But at the end of the day, there's no documented public proof of a remote code vulnerability, so people can calm down about that. And people just need to give the developers, some slack.
For real, back off these guys. They're doing their damnedest.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've done IT investigations at work before, and there's absolutely no way I tell someone that I'm investigating them. You just let them keep going and hang themselves. They keep doing the stupid shit. You eventually get enough to go to their supervisor and whoever else you need to go to, and then you say, hey, why don't you come have a chat with me and all these people in this room? You're about to have a very bad day. So,
yeah, Drew makes a good point. Instead of hundreds of Chevys breaking down a day, nothing happens ever at all until one day or time they all explode. Then people will be way madder if they all exploded than the few that were sacrificed along the way.
I have to ask, hold on.
100%.
What game is that?
Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, she was.
She has a Pikachu in 64. Ah!
I saw her as soon as I saw. I recognized the "I'm blowing on the cartridge" emote that she was doing, and I was like,
Sorry, I went a little bit over on that.
"Oh no, no,
the rabbit is being chased. Oh my gosh, here's a Pikachu in 64."
Like, the train is derailed, Drew.
Like,
the whole show is now derailed.
You can see Cajun turning physically green with envy.
I had a neighbor who had like the Hello Pikachu version of all that, and seeing that is like, ah! Even the control. I'm done. I'm leaving. Bye, guys. Nord has left the chat.
Anyway,
right, that's incredible. Anyway, sorry.
So,
yes.
Anyways, in a completely different direction, there's this game out that, apparently had critical acclaim. I don't know how critics work anymore because I just assume they're being paid. Called Dragon's Dogma 2.
That has been all my timeline everywhere.
Oddly, they decided to go in a very strange direction with their content. If you go to the Steam page for this game, you go to the DLC, there's 21 DLCs.
I saw that.
Explorer camping kit, camping gear. The music and sound collection, okay, that's kind of cool. It's got custom sound. Harpy lure item, a thoughtful gift. Change pawn inclinations is a DLC for $1.99. Escape from Gao or whatever, 99 cents. A character editor, a warp location marker, a bunch of restore things that are dead back to life, and then a bunch of crystals. That is a lot of fucking DLC for this game. That's out of nowhere, apparently. And people are none too happy. I
had been hemming and hawing over buying it because I really like Dragon's Dogma. I really do. And I was like, I want to buy it. But they're like, we're putting our new price on this new game, which I made me immediately wary of whatever was going to come next. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just let it release and see what happens, because nowhere in the pre-order bit was there DLC listed or anything like that on Steam. I'm like, this could potentially be fantastic. I'm down for doing this, but I'm still going to wait for a Steam sale. And boy, am I glad I didn't dump down the $70+ to even buy
Allegedly,
this game.
You can get all these DLC items in the game normally, but now you can buy them and pay to win.
Well, you've got the weird revive stuff that is in alphabetical order. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I
don't fucking know.
Neither do I. I don't play the game, but even still,
it looks like it's 5 different times that you can revive all your party members or something. I don't know.
Well, the only thing that really got my attention about that game was the fact that I saw them walking through a forest, and I saw them get drop kicked by a troll that was as tall as a tree. I was like, I have never seen that before in my life, and now I am intrigued.
Oh,
This
here's something
giant
fun.
ass troll said, "Yeet," and just flew through the trees and drop kicked him into the river. I'm like, yeah, that's
So apparently,
yeah.
apparently, wake stones are what you use to revive your character in the middle of combat. Apparently, they're actually rare, and players are advised to save them for use only during the most challenging encounters. But hey, for 99 cents, you can buy them.
Or
Or you could bypass all this bullshit and just buy it right here.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I hate buy to win.
yeah, pay to win.
I'm
Yeah,
voting with my
pay to
wallet
win.
on this one. I'm not buying that game until it's on a Steam sale, and even still, I don't even know if I
Fair.
want to. Like Dragon's Dogma was so
I mean, if
good.
they combined all the DLCs into the main game or whatever, or made like some kind of like in-game currency to actually put towards that, I could see like, Neopets with the negs and stuff like that, or, you know, I know throwback to Neopets. I love it.
Neopet. That's been hitting my timeline a lot lately too. People are mentioning Neopets on an unprecedented level recently, and I don't know why. All
So
I
five
don't
of my
think I
poor
can get
pets are
into the
starving
website
right now,
anymore.
but
There's too much, but sorry, derailing again. But yeah, it's just too many microtransactions, even with the app stores. Like when you're trying to like go on your phone and whatever, you get hit with the wall of microtransactions. Oh, you don't like ads on your game? You want to play the
oh,
next level? Well, guess what? Here's a 1 minute ad.
wait, they added that to Neopets?
No, but I
just
I
in
haven't been
general.
able to get into Neopets because of, well, I forgot my account. And
Hang
two,
on,
when
hang
I
on.
did try to get into it, there was malware or whatever. So
Neopets.
Yeah, I think the system is still openly being hacked. Last
This
I
get
heard, the attackers still had plain text access to the player database.
passwords.
So even if you reset your password, they see your new password in plain text.
can I just point out that Neopets is turning 25? This game's been around. This website's been around for 25 years, and it's still going strong.
What about Kingdom of Loathing?
Who?
Kingdom of Loathing. I haven't heard of that one. Do enlighten me.
I don't remember what my username or password is. I can't even log in, so I don't know. I'm just
Okay, Nord, I
25
have
years.
a
Hi.
task for you.
Okay, I'm
I'm
ready.
gonna start playing it again, but play Kingdom of Loathing.
Where do I find this game? Steam?
Kingdom of Loathing, I think .com or .org or something. You could Google it.
Hold,
They have
hold.
a game,
Kingdom of Loathing. The
and they have a game on
2003.
Steam called what is it? What is it? Westward of
Is it?
Loathing or something. It's
I
like
have seen Markiplier play this game. I know that's not a good
I mean, you still have your microtransactions for the monthly stuff or whatever, but it's not. I'd much more invest into that than play that DLC stuff, the
the game.
cash grab on
I love the classes. It says the Turtle Tamer, the Pasta Mancer, the Sorcerer. That's hilarious. And they're stick figures. That's great. Okay, yeah, you got me. I'm good. I'll sign up.
This is the same problem I've really had with like the Assassin's Creed series. Like you spend full price for a premium game, and they still want more.
Yep.
And this is on.
So
I think Jim Stephanie Sterling actually brought up a good point on that. Is if you're designing for that in mind, then you're really not doing your player base any favors. Really.
so keep in mind, developers rarely have a say in microtransaction policies and DLC. That normally comes from senior executives
Oh yeah.
that get pushed down because they're and those are the ones that are going to be driving the sales portion of the game, and they're going to be the ones that are going to make those decisions of we need DLC, we need microtransactions. So very likely senior level decisions said you have to put all of these items that are normally very hard to get in the game or require a challenge to get them. You have to put those in as a DLC now that people can just buy and skip all that hard work.
I mean, same thing with the WoW shop, You can now there's been occasions like I ended up getting Tyrael's charger for $20, I was happy about that.
Yes,
You know,
salt. Gotta love the salt.
and then IMVU, that dress up game or that dress up app people use to, have a little doll figure of themselves or whatever. I think
No.
nowadays you can actually pay for articles of clothing for your character.
That sounds like Second Life all over again.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of
So
DLC, I think it was on the timeline that Lemmy had either put or just automatically added to the Discord. Which, by the way, if you're watching this, you haven't joined the Discord, please join the Discord. #Discord. The creators of Baldur's Gate 3 have admitted that they will not be making any DLC for Baldur's Gate 3 or be working on a Baldur's Gate 4. What we have is it.
I'm all right with that. That
Me
game
too.
was in development for so long, and there's so much content and replayability. You could never play it the same way twice. I mean, I'm good.
just
Like,
Oh, wait, Crit has
give me
a
more
thought.
kissing scenes. Just
They-
give me more kisses.
Well, they didn't say they were going to
Smooch.
patch and add stuff, but they said there's not going to be like actual like DLC, which is like Lumi said, I'm okay with because I'm gonna be I'll be completely honest. I still haven't made out of Act 1 with any of my characters yet, so I have no idea what goes on for the rest of the game. I can't.
I've won in Act 3.
I for two reasons. One, I go on to other games and forget about my characters, and when I come back, I'm like, I don't know what happened in the story. I might as well make a new character. I literally had a druid that was in the same spot where I'm at now, and I said, "Nah, fuck it, I'm making a bard."
Not gonna lie though, I'm guilty of that right now, especially between Pal World and Diablo.
which Diablo 4?
Yeah, the more recent one. It's just like I have so many things that are like flying at me right now that I'm overwhelmed. I'm like now with freaking World of Warcraft, they have
Pirate Island.
Thunderstorm. Arr,
Arr.
arr.
Fun fact: we were in this little museum, this little science museum, and the like R that we know about pirates and speak like a pirate day on my birthday, which is September 19th. I don't care if I'm doxing myself. That's not how pirates talked.
No,
They
of course not.
They just talked with like an off British accent, from what I was reading on the actual history. And New Orleans today would not be the way it is if a pirate would not have done what he done. It was John Lafitte. Didn't know that till today.
Lafayette?
So,
or
no,
Lafitte?
Lafitte. No, his name is Lafitte. Lafitte. And they said that like legend has it that he died doing what he did, but there's also legends that he actually moved to North Carolina and was with a completely different name. I was like, I didn't know there was so much information on damn pirates in my own freaking state.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, yeah, do what you want because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
You
Well-
can't out pirate me though. I live in the state that has Gasparilla.
Yes, Barilla.
What is Gasparilla? It sounds like root beer that's
pirate.
gone bad.
It's like the pirate parade or whatever. There's pirate boats and everybody's a pirate. It's
You
usually
are
January.
a pirate.
Lots of
I
drinking.
can't find that person you mentioned, Nordic. I can only find Lafayette.
The way it was spelled on the wall was. Let me see if I can find it since we're talking about it.
Because I'm trying to find who
Yay,
you're talking
the
about.
rabbit hole continues.
Look, it literally came up immediately when I typed it. 1 second.
It's bothering me.
I will actually put it in the Twitch chat since we're chasing this rabbit.
We
So
are
if anybody-
both Alice and the rabbit. We'll be
there you
fine.
go. There you go. Barcode.
Huh.
Jean Lafitte.
Yeah.
But instead of buying all these DLCs, why don't we No.
Let's not
What?
condone stupid things.
Yep.
But I understand your point. Like it's very frustrating, right? To constantly be given yet more and more and more DLCs. And like if it's a full expansion for a DLC, I personally don't care. Like I appreciate that. But when it's like, here's a little bit more, here's a little bit more, here's a season pass, or here's like, whatever else, it's like, God damn it.
Well, that's how I feel like we are with the two biggest games that's come out in the past 2 years between Power World and Baldur's Gate 3. Like I said, Baldur's Gate 3, they said, sure, we'll update the game and we'll fix things. And the modding community, of course, is already like salivating at the mouth. So we're going to have so many things
Oh
in
yeah,
the game.
they've already put Thomas the Tank Engine in the character creator. Like
I'm
we're
saying,
Oh my
I'm
god, I need to play
saying,
that.
but on top of that, though, the fact that they said they're not doing any DLC is phenomenal. And then you go to Power World. If you look at the map of Power World and where the fucking tree is, they have so many areas that they're going to expand upon in future DLCs. Power World, we have not scratched the surface of how big the world is in Power World. All of our areas, even up to level 50, are the starter area. If you zoom out and look where the tree is, there is an entire world that goes around the tree, which is the final area that we get when we first land on the freaking Power World beach. It says the tree has all the answers. We can't reach the fucking tree yet.
Welcome to early access.
So there's a lot of DLC, like you said, Barcode, that could be expansions, and those are I'm all for. I am 110% down with expansions. I'm 100% down to you give me a full ass game like Baldur's Gate did. Like they were the first game in a long time I bought, which has been a full game with no future DLC planned whatsoever in a long ass time. In a world where DLC rules and microtransactions rules. And what happened last year? Who won Game of the Year? Oh, let me think. Baldur's fucking Gate. People want this. People want a full game without DLC. Or they want a great game that could be added on later. They don't want nickel and dime, nickel and dime, nickel and dime.
You know, the history
People are
about
tired of it.
history about all this. Like, I remember when the idea of downloadable content and expansions, that was a thing. I was like, oh, we can add on to the game. So they've made their game modular, and now you have downloadable content. That is a thing now. And when Total Biscuit was still with us,
recipes.
Yeah, one of the things that he talked about was Mass Effect 3, or was it? Yeah, it was Mass Effect 3. And one of the DLCs that you had to pay for was for, I think it was for the race that this whole world was built around. Like, was it the Protogens, I believe, is what they called them? The downloadable content was this story, and there is a living Protogen that can join your party and do stuff, which made 0 sense, right? I forgot
Isn't
how much.
that like Borderlands, like with all their DLCs?
Well, Borderlands, when they do their DLCs, it's kind of like World of Warcraft, or it's kind of like how they're going to do with Power World. It's a whole new story. It's a whole new set of like characters. Like for the first one, they had Dr. Zed's Undead Island, where it's just a giant ass zombie apocalypse version of Borderlands, to Tiny Tina's D&D version of her game, to Mad Moxie's Thunderdome. Like they all had their own story and good addition to the game, which you can't go do until you reach a certain level. Like you have to be strong enough, kind of like how Fallout's DLC was as well. Their own story is built within their DLC. It's not like they just tacked on, oh, you can go kill this boss and get a few more guns. No, there's a whole fleshed out story inside of these DLCs, and that's what we like.
It was a parallel story arc to go along with the main theme of the story, right? As opposed to this character for Mass Effect 3 was just it was a side quest. You didn't have to do any of it, and at all, right? I mean.
To be fair, Borderlands did that too. Borderlands gave you characters like it was the Mechomancer, which is the little girl that could summon like a very killer version of Deathtrap,
and
then the giant. I love the Psycho. I'll be real. Psycho's my main. Love me some Psycho. Dude's hilarious.
Even has the prayer hand up. You can't see it, but he's like, yeah, the Psycho.
So yeah, they did it too. But that wasn't the only thing they did. They made stories to go along with the big deal. I think there are other, like the Necromancer, I keep saying Necro because D&D, but I think the Necromancer and the Psycho were only like a couple bucks. So it wasn't like you were spending an arm and a leg for a character.
I don't know if you saw this, Crit, but in chat, Drew said, "Fun fact, Crit. There is a car boat in my hometown that takes people to prom, weddings, and all kinds of stuff. Our state is weird." I don't know which part of the conversation that actually applied to, but I was like, you know what? Let's just wedge it in there.
That's right. We're chasing all the rabbits already.
I'll take that DLC. Hoi hoi.
Hey, 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 hey.
We're getting close to the end here, but there's something else, and I bring this one up because Cajun's ingrained in the culture. Apparently, Nintendo issued another takedown request, and it's for a mod, and it was from 7 years ago. This creator made it. It was for the Call of Duty mod, or the Pokemon mod for Call of Duty.
There was a Pokemon mod for Call of Duty?
Yep.
Huh?
Call of Booty.
Yep. This is just, I mean, Nintendo's been on a strike happy. I'm gonna say
You get a
tirade.
strike, and you get a strike.
Yeah, Nintendo's like Pretendo, I guess is what you can call it. Like everybody gets one, and that's fine. Well, no, it's not. But even still, this creator, he posted it up on Twitter, and he was just like, I forgot this video even existed. It was from like almost a decade ago. But all right, we'll take it down.
The long arm of the Nintendo law knows no bounds.
Yeah, that's starting. There's stuff going on with that company that is making me raise eyebrows and whatnot. Like I'm kind of on the fence about even getting a Switch 2 at this particular point because how can you be aggressive with your fan base, right?
So I find them to be as aggressive with the fan base as Disney was with every iteration of the mouse.
Until Steamboat Mickey is now.
So Steamboat, but that's the thing. Only Steamboat Mickey is no longer under copyright. Everything else is, and look how aggressively they defend their IPs. It's about market dominance.
Yep.
Because the longer they hold on to the number one position of that thing, whatever it is, the more people associate that thing with that company. They're trying to ingrain and hold that stranglehold on Pokemon being associated with Nintendo. Does that kind of make sense?
It's gonna turn into Winnie the Pooh.
Which I still need to watch those horror movies.
I think I watched Dead Meat's recap of it, and I'm kind of glad I did. I mean, it's probably right up there with Cocaine Bear, as far as I'm concerned.
I love Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear is based on an actual event, though.
Yeah, but to be fair, Cocaine Bear, I mean, it would have lasted or lived not very long with that amount of cocaine in its system, probably with only like half an hour of life.
Can I say again? I'm sorry.
So Cocaine Bear would have actually been dead within the hour.
Oh,
with
sure.
The amount of cocaine that it ingested.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a fun movie.
Behind you in the mirror going.
Yeah.
I just
At this point, we should just rebrand him to Tony Montana.
Heyo.
There you go. Now, what I want to see is Cocaine Bear versus Sharknado. That's the crossover I want to see. Let's go.
Cocaine Bear NATO.
Cocaine NATO. Just one giant ass tornado of cocaine. Everybody, turn into cocaine zombies.
It's a cardiopulmonary disaster. Okay. All right. So we are at the end here. We got about 10 minutes. So let's talk about what we're doing next week. IMEI, what you doing?
I'm probably abusing history again. I've basically finished my campaign of Italy spreading the meatball to the world. There's only 3 other countries left. There is the UK, there is Russia, and China are the only 3 countries left in the world. The rest has been covered in meatballs in that save for Ultimate Admiral. I'm probably going to do some diving with Helldivers and maybe run back to, what is it? Starship Troopers.
Ooh, Starship Troopers.
Yeah, good stuff. Great. What you got going on?
I am probably going to be watching live PD tonight after the podcast because it's currently, on Patrol Live. Sorry. Rebrand. And then working because I picked up
Crit. Why?
3 weeks.
Why?
3 weeks.
Why you like torture?
I like getting $1,000 at the end of the week.
I mean, I understand that, but still,
I mean, it's not much, but it's a living.
it's a living.
It's a living. But hold on, Drew has something here. Completely uninformed opinion, colon. I think Nintendo is starting to go after so many more things to prove that they aren't letting Pal World slide, and instead aren't going after them because there is no copyright infringement, or people are noticing because everyone expected them to sue over it, and they're just waiting to see if it happens.
I think the first part of that statement is correct. Pal World was developed for 4 years. It's not like it came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not like they were quiet about their promotion either.
You see, like, even if it's a new video, and if you put even sometimes a single frame of a Pokemon video in your videos, it usually gets copyright claimed and gets content ID matched.
Because
they're
Nintendo is.
very, very, very quick on that shit.
Nintendo goes, hey, stop that shit.
But at the same time, I'm pretty sure they're never going to sue Pal World because there's no copyright. Pal World is basically a shit ton of games stuck together into one. That's really what it is.
It's a chimera of a game, and even the ones that are closely related to some Pokemon in some fashion, the people that were trying to show that Pal World copy and pasted pixels from a Pokemon to make the Pokemon proved themselves wrong because they had to scale it up to where Pokemon was just to make their lie work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's not enough there for Nintendo to sue them on, even though I'll admit there's some Pokemon that are like, holy shit, that's a Score Bunny. That's an Eevee. But there's enough differences to where it's their own unique spin on it. There's enough fake mon out there and enough what's the word? ROM hacks out there to where if they're not going after the actual Pokemon ROM hacks, they have no ground to stand on for Pal World. So if anything, Arc has more of a store, has more of a case than Pokemon does. So Pal World's fine. It ain't gonna get hit.
Yeah, luckily
Nintendo's got enough people to go after.
Luckily, you can't copyright mechanics, so fine.
Fair.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that game has hang gliding in it.
Which game?
I don't know. Pal World. It's got hang gliding. We're gonna sue every wow. Blizzard would be after them if that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've got goblin gliders, and every other game has ever had a gliding mechanic. Nah.
Breath of the Wild, Nintendo's coming now. That's all there is to it.
Coming for your ass.
Cajun, what are we doing this week?
I have no fucking idea.
No idea, huh? Well, I know you have your ultra, what was it? Corrupted Y video.
Withering Y. Yes, I'm probably going to do a night or two of that for sure to continue the story along. We finished the bet with Harrison. He owes me a eating contest, which today he actually put away a pizza today that I didn't think he could finish. So I actually have a small food challenge boy up and coming. So that's cool. But as of what we're doing,
we'll play by ear.
I'm open to anything. So if you guys have ideas of us, if you want to see us do more, Lumi doing roguelites and me doing Pokemon, we'll do that. If you want us to see us do some collaboration on some games, please feel free to hit us up on Twitter, on Discord, on text message, on Smokescreen, just anything. Just hit us up on something. Just let us know if it's something you want to see. I'll take Morse code at this point, so it's fine.
Oh yeah. No, as far as I'm concerned, is what I'll do. And keep in mind, we still need to have some art streams come up due to.
Oh, that's true. We have to have at least one art stream a week so we can work on the dank work stuff.
Yes, the dank work stuff.
So we got that coming up as well.
Okay.
The only reason why we're so adamant about it is because it is in my wheelhouse. We have to make me and Lumi look like gym leaders in Pokemon.
And
or POCCMON, so Dank doesn't get slapped.
And we have to come up with we'll figure it out. If you look at some of the stuff that Dank was saying about that particular death match, is it doesn't have to be any type of form. Just make yourself a gym leader, or make a gym leader. It's really what it's all about. And the Nordinary gym is going to be an epic gym. That's all there is to it.
That's it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. But other than that, it's I'm probably just about done with Goobies.
For now.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of fun, and it's ridiculously satisfying to look at and watch the cascading just explosions, which is great. But I also have Isaac. I love playing Isaac. There's I just got 20 minutes till dawn. Another really great roguelite.
Then you got, when is Tiny Rogues going full access?
I don't know. Right now, as it stands, they just have the Heaven and Earth expansion right now, or not expansion, the Heaven and Earth update, and they're missing the Abyss. So now that I've beaten everything all the way up to where I've gone to the high heavens and sat on the throne, and gone to the low hells and sat on its throne, like now you have to go to the Abyss. And if you try to go to the Abyss, there's a sign on it going, we're under construction right now. Sorry. So just go enjoy the rest of the game. You know, it's still a roguelike. I mean,
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Maybe some Helldivers. I don't know.
My computer can't handle it no more.
Well, it's probably gonna be after. It'll probably.
My computer said, "I'm tired, boss. I'm tired."
Let me go to sleep.
As long as it doesn't say I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark, you should be fine.
You see dust coming up from underneath me, like,
No.
and I just vanish.
That's the secret. Computers run on smoke. You let the smoke out, they don't work no more. So that's it. Episode 61 in the bag. Tune in next week on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's UTC -5 because we believe in daylight savings, and I have to remember which time zone I'm in.
What year is it?
Join the Discord. Typically
42.
after ordinary nights, I'll be playing Helldivers with some of the folks in the Discord, which has been a lot of fun. Sal, Banana Tune, some of the other folks like Grumble and Turd Ferguson. All those guys are great. So drop on by. Let's go kill some bugs and bots. And
kill them.
Yeah. So we're gonna end this with our Nordic countries anthem here.
Y'all stay awesome. Y'all stay classy. And as always,
don't be a
dick. Catch y'all next time. Love y'all. Peace. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Thanks for sharing.
I've been doing the
So long, everyone.